All right, everyone, this is Kent Ketter bringing you the outro video for the Goryo's Vengeance Hot Takes. It's all brought to you by Cardhoarder. Let's talk through what happened. So, 4 Jund matchups. Jund matchup seems pretty good. Neat. Great. Wonderful. Apologies for not getting, a diversity of matchups, but just kind of roll the dice with the leagues and see what we get. It did accent a couple things for us that I really like to point out. The 1-for-1 decks do have a hard time keeping up here. We have a fairly redundant combo, and unless they can both take the pieces and counter the remaining ones, or just, counter the relevant ones, it's tough for them to keep up. A couple things that we did not do very well, and maybe I misunderstand, some of the sideboarding rules that we take. When Anger of the Gods come in, what comes out? When Anger of the Gods comes in, Simeon's Spirit Guide is a tough little cookie to crack. I think our Jund plan was pretty basic. Take out the answers to their early threats, and then bring in ley lines, and maybe we don't bring in the Murderous Cut, but I like popping Goyfs. It really cuts down on their clock. Something that we messed up pretty terribly in the old game had to be the sequencing of some of our spells. We have to make sure when we're casting our cantrips and the like, and this is for everyone who plays combo decks. Before you cast a cantrip, yes, many times you're just casting cantrips, finding redundancy in the early turns, but on those turns 3 and 4, I did not take the time to think about, if I cast this cantrip and I get whatever my best card is, what happens the next turn for my opponent? There's a couple games where the lines we took, we were just dead on board. Kind of bad combo play, but you can definitely learn how to get around that just by sequencing correctly. Meaning you are thinking through, the entire process and not giving up value, kind of randomly. Outside of that, the deck seemed great. 12 dig spells is just, 16 if you count the Izzet charms. So 16 dig spells is just mind-blowing. Collective Brutality and Lightning Bolt, nice little split there. I actually like that for our interactive spells. And then the rest of the deck's pretty simple. Sideboard, I will admit that I didn't fully understand where all of our, little 1s and 2s and stuff were coming in, but Leyline of Sanctity seems great against Jund. I imagine this is for the interactive matchups, which we didn't see. Anger for the Delver matchup, but that's a tough one. Maybe I don't want to go that deep. Maybe just bring in the cuts. Maybe I bring in the ley lines. I think if I bring in the ley lines and the Angers, we get pretty far off of the deck, so I only wanted to bring in one. That's something I'm going to go look up after this, is the aggressive decks. The aggressive burn decks. Do we leyline them? Do we anger them? I think if it was burn, we would leyline them. We can bolt Brutality and cut some of their creatures, and then we cut some through the breaches. But if they're really, putting it to us with more creatures, Anger of the Gods might be the way to go. Overall, though, I give the deck a Dece plus. It is a very powerful deck that I think is abusing or pushing the limits in Modern. I wouldn't disagree with seeing something like Simeon's Spirit Guide banned. This deck is fantastic anyway. Anyway, yeah, a lot of fun. I think we played reasonably well, but definitely missed out on some sequences, being a little too greedy or just not thinking 1 to 2 turns ahead. I would definitely take this for a spin in a tournament with 25, 30 more matches, but it seems really powerful. A lot of free wins against Jund. So this was Kent Ketter bringing you another hot take. Goryo's Vengeance. David Sharfman just made a great one. I applaud him for that. Not that my applause means anything, but it's a good one. And I hope some other people take a chance to kind of check this one out, especially if you maybe have access to some of these cards from maybe some legacy decks. This is a really fun one. So thanks for checking in, everyone. We will be back next week. We're going to make it a little bit crazier next week since we're dealing with kind of a latency period. Probably going to go with some Pauper or maybe some off-the-wall stuff. So thanks for checking in, and love to hear from you in the comments. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Best of luck in your Magic endeavors. Peace.